Hi everyone, it's Hannah and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a fall book recommendation and TBR video, and I'm super excited to film this for you guys. I can't believe that it's already fall. I feel like they're gonna fall. Yeah. I gave up on having the books in the background, but we do have all of the animals in the room today, so if you're hearing specifically this one, I'm sorry, I will try to edit those out. Like I said, today's video, I am going to be giving you guys, I believe I have about 15 recommendations. Honestly, read a little less fall vibe books than I realized. I think I'm more of a spring summer vibe reader. Like when it's fall, I still read those vibes because I miss those vibes, especially in winter. So I love fall, but I am definitely a warm weather girly. So we have a few books on my list that I don't have the physical copies for, so we're gonna do those books first. I would love to start off with the very first book I thought of for this video, which is If We Were Villains by, that's a great question. Who is that by? If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. This book was generously donated and recommended to me by my friend Jillian, so it's back with her. But that book was so amazing. I believe I read it around fall time when I read it for the first time, and it was so good. It just fed every like fall craving that you have for mystery and like school angst and all of like these crazy things that were happening with these teenagers. I think they're at a university, so they could be like in their 20s, but we follow them at theater school and they're doing a play and somebody dies and they have to figure all of this stuff out. So it's super interesting and super fun to read. You have no fucking idea what's going on at any point, and there's new twists and turns that appear throughout the book. I definitely recommend that book for fall time. And then my other book that I don't have with me is Hooked, and this book, I believe her name is Emily McIntyre, but this book is a reimagined love story of Captain Hook and that whole thing. So like the male main character's name is Hook, but this is a series of interconnected standalones. I did not continue the series because I honestly didn't think I was gonna love Hooked that much, but I ended up really enjoying it. And I think I only gave it like 3.5 stars, but I do remember enjoying the little elements of the romance that did give a fall vibe. So that is why I'm recommending it to read in the fall time, just because if you are a romance reader and you don't really know what to pick up in the fall time, then I would recommend that as well. The third book that I don't have is an old one and a classic, and I just think in general classics are really fun to read in the fall for some reason, because classics give you that like warm, old, cozy feeling, I feel like. So I guess that just fits with fall for me. But this book is The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. Now this is a classic for so many reasons, and I'm sure a lot of you read it in school like I had to, but if you haven't gone back to it since school and maybe you didn't enjoy it in school, go back and read this book. It is so good. It's just one of those books that gives you a really warm feeling after reading it. And The Outsiders also has a very not predictable, but like it is a plot that we've probably seen many times with like social clique dynamics and gang violence and things like that. It's a good reread option as well. I think I'm gonna try to reread it this year because I haven't read it in a few years and I do miss it. This used to be my book though, and the movie. Like I would reread the book and watch the movie once a week. Like I was addicted. But it follows a teen gang, and there is Ponyboy, who is the main character. You are just following Ponyboy around with dealing with family dynamics and gang dynamics and school dynamics, and it's just so fun to see him with his friends and his family and what the dynamic is with his brothers and things like that. It's just a really enjoyable read for, I feel like, any age group. That's it for the books that I don't have, I think. The next series that I think if you haven't read, you should go read it, and that is the Hunger Games series. I only have the fourth book with me, and this is basically a prequel to the other three books. It happens before the other three books happen. I don't know, should you start with this one? I feel like you should if you've never read anything from the Hunger Games series. If you've already read some stuff in Hunger Games, then maybe read it in order. I don't know, whatever. This is chronologically in the timeline. It is first. So this is just such a fun dystopian vibe to get into, and if you like fantasy and that's more of your genre, then this would probably be good. Again, I'm sure everybody has read these, but if you haven't, this is your sign. Okay, then I have another classic that I think everybody should read at some point in their life, and since it is a little dark and sad, I would recommend it for the fall or winter time, and that is The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. I think that this book teaches a lot of life lessons that I think people should learn. I honestly don't remember a ton from this book without going through it and like having it jog my memory, but there are some lines in here that I think everybody should read at least one Sylvia Plath book or essay or poem or anything before they die, because holy shit was that woman a genius, and the things that she put down onto paper I just fear need to be read for like the entire masses. So if that's your vibe in fall, a classic, sad, will make you feel something read, then I would go for it. The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. Along that same line with a more depressing type vibe, we have My Dark Vanessa by Kate Elizabeth Russell. This book, a lot of people compare it to Lolita, I believe, but I don't think it is like Lolita in the slightest. It's not in the male's point of view or anything like that. So I've never read Lolita, so I don't fully know if that's an accurate comparison, but this book follows a young woman named Vanessa who I believe in the present time she's like in her 30s, 20s, and just trying to figure out her adult life. But we also get flashbacks from when she was 15 years old and going to a private school and was having an inappropriate relationship with a teacher, and it kind of goes through how she comes to terms with realizing that this was an inappropriate relationship and that she was groomed and it was non-consensual because she couldn't consent as a 15-year-old girl. It's not as cut and dry as you may think. You may go into it thinking, okay, this is an inappropriate relationship and she knows that and he knows that, but no, it's very like almost as if he's grooming you as well while you read the older timeline, and then you get into the new timeline and see how she's also processing these things after so many years of convincing herself that it was love. I think this is a really good book to read if you are feeling a bit more emotional and want something with a bit more substance, something that's a little deeper. I will say this took me a while to finish just because of the heavy topics that are discussed in here. I think it's really hard to watch Vanessa come to terms with everything. Trauma in general is hard to read, obviously, so check trigger warnings and make sure that you're in the right headspace to read this, because I do think sometimes I pick up darker books when I'm not in the right space for them and they just make things worse, like The Bell Jar. That kind of happened with me. I was not supposed to be reading that book when I was reading it, but keeping along the sad line. But I think this story specifically, it just really fits with that fall vibe of just like going through school and struggling and meeting people and like sticking with those people and trying to ride out college or high school or whatever it is together. And that is Looking for Alaska by John Green. This was another book that I didn't rate super high, but I still enjoyed it and thought that like it's a good thing for people to read. I wish I read it when I was a little bit younger. I think if I read this in high school or middle school, I probably would have resonated a little bit more with it. But if you don't know what this is about 3 kids, Miles, Alaska, who is the girl, and another boy who's Miles' best friend. I can't remember his name right now, but Alaska is this super whimsical, mysterious girl who really intrigues Miles, and there's just something about her that he doesn't understand and would like to get to know more. But Alaska has a lot of demons and a lot of things going on, and it basically follows Miles trying to uncover what Alaska, who she is, what her mystery is, what her story is. It's a short read. I think it's only like 220 pages or something, 220 pages, and it's an emotional read. I think it is a little bit predictable, but it's emotional even though you know what's coming. You know what I mean? Okay, and then the last one is another sequel situation. I don't have the first book, which is the one that I read. Definitely recommending the first one because I haven't read the second one. And since we are going to now get into the TBR portion of this video, I'm gonna show you guys books that I want to read this fall. Let's go ahead and start that off with Fourth Wing / Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. I've been holding this off for so long because I saw that people were like, oh, it's not the same as Fourth Wing, like it doesn't give the same vibes. Obviously it's a sequel, but Also, the sheer length of this book, I am just a wee bit nervous, if I'm being honest with you. But I would love to read this in September, October vibes, just because I know it's gonna hit so hard. The fantasy elements and everything, I think it's just gonna be perfect for when it gets a little colder out and the fall colors are fall coloring. Look at this cover. I mean, it just gives fall, you know? I read Fourth Wing in, I want to say like springtime last year. Was obsessed, absolutely was obsessed with Fourth Wing, but I think if I read it in the fall, it probably would have slapped even harder. So definitely recommending Fourth Wing, and if you want to jump on this with me, then we could do that too. Oh shit, I forgot one. Okay, I also am recommending The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. There are 4 books in this, I think, and like the last one is short novella that's combined with the last book, so 4 books. And this is the first one. This follows 5? Whatever. This follows a bunch of kids called the Naturals who all have special abilities that they're not really magical, but they're just special things that these kids can do better than anyone else. So the main girl, Cassie, is a profiler. She's very good at her job, seeing someone and being able to like analyze that person for exactly what they are. So invited to be in an FBI group called The Naturals, where they try to find serial killers and solve cold cases. This is just a super fun mystery vibe for the fall time. I'm obsessed. So the reason I'm putting that with the TBR section is because I am on the 3rd book all in, and I would really like to read this fall. This is the 3rd book. Did I say them already? I don't know. The first 2 were absolute, like I was flipping through that bitch. I need to read this before all of it falls out of my brain. Now these are fully TBR books that I haven't read yet and would like to read in the fall time. However, I did pick a lot, so I feel like I'm a little bit ambitious right now. The first one is a classic. Surprise, surprise. My goal for the year was to read 10 classics. I think I'm at 3. So need to pick it up a little bit. The classic I'm referring to is Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. Look at this cover. When I saw this special edition at Half Price Books, I was like, yeah, I've been wanting to read it, but I was not interested in picking up a classic until I saw this. So I love when pages are like, I forget what this is called, when they're like frayed like that. What is that called? I don't know what that's called, but these types of pages, I saw the cover and then I saw the pages and I was like, okay, we're gonna buy her. So yes, I would love to read this in the fall just because I love an angsty romance classic with like such toxic old values. You know, they were crazy back in the days. I don't know too much about that book other than it's a romance classic, so no summary for you, so sorry. Okay, the next one I said I was probably gonna read in the summer, but I saw other people talking about it and realized it's a little bit more of like magical realism than romance, so I saved it. And that is A Novel Love Story by Ashley Poston. I'm really excited for this. I believe it is about Elsie, or Eileen, who finds herself in a town that is from her favorite book. So she's literally in her favorite book and has to kind of navigate how the fuck she's in this town and like how to get out. And I think she helps her favorite characters like with the problems that they dealt with in the book. So that sounds amazing, and from a book reader perspective, I need that. I need to read that. And I think magical realism in general is a fall vibe. How many times have I said fall vibe? Are you guys sick of me yet? I'm sick of me. Okay. Then I decided that I need to read a Christian Hannah book by the end of the year, and I think it's going to be Firefly Lane during fall. We'll see. But this is a pretty big book, and I heard all of Kristen Hannah books are just like immediate tears, so I'm a little worried for that. But I believe this follows 2 sisters. There's a Netflix show about this that I did try to watch like when it first came out, but I don't remember anything. I didn't finish it either, because Netflix originals are really a hit or miss for me. But yeah, it's a story of 2 women and the friendship that defines their lives. Aww. Okay, so it's a bestie book. Love that. You like this? let me know. The length is scaring me just a little bit. Then it's probably gonna be 500 pages of pain. But like the next 2 books are also fucking sad from what I've heard, so good. The next one I actually have no fucking idea what it's about, but I have been wanting to read a Lily King book, and this is Father of the Rain by Lily King. Lily King wrote Writers and Lovers, which I still have not read, and that is like the book that made me want to read a Lily King book. But I saw this cover, the title, and this little synopsis was enough for me to kind of be like, okay, I kind of want to read that. I'm just gonna read a little bit of the summary. Lily King traces a daughter's relationship to her volatile, charismatic father over 3 decades. From her parents' separation in her childhood, Dally Anne-Marie has had to choose herself over her father in order to survive. That is, until he hits rock bottom and Daly must decide whether trying to save him is worth the risk of losing her professional dreams and the love of her life. Now, I love reading about parental issues. Daddy issues, mommy issues, sibling issues, anything. I have it all, and I would love to read about all of it. So that was my main reason for getting this. I also am just really excited to read Lily King's writing and see how that goes for me. So okay, I think I have one last book to show you guys, and that's another romance. It is A Love Letter to Whiskey by Candy Steiner. Again, we have a big book with, I'm presuming, a lot of pain, but this has been on my TBR forever since I started my reading journey. I need to pick this up at some point, and I think fall, winter would be the best time to do that because I do think it's going to be severely painful. Excited or not excited? I don't know. Those are all of my book recommendations, guys. I am so excited to get into all of these books and hear your opinions on any of these books. If you've read any of them, let me know, and let me know what you guys thought. Hopefully I gave you guys a good variety of books. I am trying my best not to repeat books, but if you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you like me, and then I'll have some more videos coming for you. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.